Visualize old school men who had 4-digit testosterone levels and whose handshake will crush the hands of modern people. Now visualize the speaker of our times, like the TED speakers, Jordan Peterson, podcasters like Chris Williamson. What is common between them? Both of the groups don't use stupid acronyms. They don't use those stupid acronyms and they are good communicators. You use them and you are a trash communicator. So if the most competent people don't use it, then why do you, me and rest of the world uses it? Part 1. The growth of acronym. The first point is social media influence. People's mind have been brainwashed by social media and that is why they use random different stupid acronyms. Every now and then whenever you are scrolling, you will see some random new acronyms and something like that, which will tell your brain that yes, other people are using this acronym, you should also use this acronym. Second point, peer pressure from friends. If you have a friend group who uses random different stupid acronyms, then you are gonna more tend to use those acronyms yourself because you will be influenced and you just want to blend in with the rest of the people so that they accept you. That is part of our natural human instincts, and that is why you will try to mimic their body language, you will try to mimic their vocal language, you will try to mimic their chatting habits. That is why you will also mimic the acronyms they use. The third and final point, trash source of media consumption. By this I mean the source which you consume your media from. If you consume the media of people who are very competent, who are very good speakers, like TED Talks, like podcasts, something like this, then you're gonna be a better communicator yourself and you will be a better articulator because you are consuming media from high value sources. Instead, if you consume from random sources like reels and shorts and all of this, you're not gonna become a good communicator because your articulation is not gonna be great. Part 2, some common acronyms. Most of you already know these acronyms, but I will tell you all of these acronyms and whether I think they are good or not. I'm obviously not gonna go over each and every one of them, but I will just give you a brief idea. IK and TYSM. IK for I know and TYSM for thank you so much. These are kind of useful when communicating, especially through chatting, but they are not at all useful while you are trying to convey some kind of emotion. Let's say if you want to thank someone, when will they feel thanked? Will they feel thanked when you use TYSM bro, or when you actually genuinely use the full sentence that thank you so much for the actions you have done, thank you so much for X, thank you so much for Y, thank you so much for the actions you have committed? Of course, it's the latter one. No one is going to feel thanked when they receive a random message like TYSM. What is even this? Number 2, TF, BS and all of these acronyms. Sometimes I use them myself. These are always for the situations when you want to swear but you cannot because either you have some high level authority watching over you. For example, in this case it is the community guidelines. The third and the worst category, YOLO and TLDR. These are for absolute idiots because they are an excuse. YOLO basically means you only live once, and this is the acronym people use to justify their degeneracy. Whenever they waste time in instant gratification on pleasurable activities, they always say YOLO, you only live once, so let's enjoy the activity, let's live in the moment and all of this shit. But all of us know that is not gonna help you. And the most annoying one I find is TLDR, too long didn't read. That is when people try to get a summary of the entire message. I find it most annoying because those people don't want to invest a little bit of their time towards reading a post or an article or whatever, and they just want the quick summary. Their attention span is less than a goldfish. I will just go on a quick little rant. You can skip the part if you don't want to listen me ranting about this stuff. Why the hell do you need a TLDR of a good quality post or good quality article or a podcast or any of these things? Once you invest the full time, then you will get more exposure to the subject. That means your brain will have more time to process the information that is going on, and it will give you more ideas, more better ideas and more optimized ideas instead of you just reading the TLDR or the summary of the thing. Some summaries can be useful. For example, the summary of a book can be useful in deciding whether you want to buy the book or not, but summaries of various podcasts and all of these things, these are absolute waste of time because you are not getting the in-depth knowledge. You will also not apply the things because let's say there is a protocol of morning sunlight. If you don't know the science behind it, you are not gonna apply it to the fullest extent. But if you know the science behind it, that it increases different levels of dopamine and testosterone and all of these things, then you're gonna most likely do the activity because you know why they are good. If you just read the TLDR of the podcast and you just read that alright, get sunlight, you're not gonna take the action because you don't have the knowledge to take the action. You're gonna think like it is also a different protocol. Nothing's gonna change. That's why you have to invest time into your education. Alright, the rant is over, and even I made some acronyms when I was younger. The most famous one and the one I use, and I have seen people use it because I have started using it, is writing CZ for because. I was so damn lazy that I did not even write cause. Like most people give an apostrophe and then write cause for because, but I was so lazy that I just switched it to CZ. That is for because. That just goes to show how damn lazy I was. Part 3. Why they are bad. Have you ever seen a speaker just come into the room, get onto the stage and say like, yo guys, TYSM for coming, we gonna get rolling tonight cause yellow, some BS like this. Alright, when I wrote the script, my autocorrect made the entire line red because it did not understand the single word I was saying. Well, hell no. No man's gonna speak like this if he's in a competent and good position. The second reason why they're bad, it is because they damage articulation. Most people think that articulation is only done when you speak, but it's not the case. Even the act of writing is also an articulation. Articulation during writing comes from how you structure the sentence, how you use the words, how you make it feel, how you make it blend into the next sentence. All of these are a part of articulation. That means the more time you write trash or write these acronyms, your subconscious mind is gonna think that yes, I am this guy who uses these random acronyms. Your identity is going to be very different, and your brain will think that that is your new identity. That means you will continuously get worse. I can write out the script very nicely, not word for word, but I can articulate it in such a way that you are sitting there watching a 16-year-old guy speak about a random subject with no random editing. This is how I made the video. I don't know whether you are seeing it or not, but I just wrote the bullet points and all of the mind maps for this video. This was not a super word-to-word detailed script that I'm using a teleprompter for. Hell no. I articulated it in a way that is efficient for me. And if you are still watching till now, you have my respect. I acknowledge your attention span. You are better than rest of the people whose attention span is less than that of a real goldfish. Third reason why it is bad, as I've already said, it turns into a bad habit. People with less articulation develop a peculiar habit that I have seen in myself when I was less articulate. It is speaking with high speeds but no accuracy. The worst thing that can happen to you in terms of articulation and speech and writing is that you will become Mr. High Speed, no accuracy. You don't want it to happen to you. I swear. That is the worst thing that can happen, and that is due to your habits of using these acronyms. Imagine Andrew Tate. That guy is a well-known speaker and he gets directly to the point. He will never waste time by using random acronyms all over the place. What I have noticed is this problem is more in the Western society than in our one. And if I was an average guy of the Western society, I wouldn't even have the confidence to speak here without editing because I would have had very shit articulation. Part 4. Then what the hell should we do? Well, point number 1. Bring out the DNA of your classical ancestor. You don't have to become James Bond if you don't like his style or if you're not into these type of highly classical styles. But what you can do is you can adopt those styles a little bit and make your articulation better. Try to become more classical and more old school in the way you speak. Point number 2. Reject modernity, embrace tradition. Point number 3. If you want people to think that you are competent and intelligent, then try acting like one. Become more articulate. Try to become the TED speakers of your day-to-day lives. Part 5. Practical steps. The first practical step I'm gonna give you is stop using those damn acronyms. But you're gonna say that you have a friend group who always uses those acronyms, and I'm gonna reply back with stop using acronyms. Instead, start writing full sentences. Act like a human to become a human, because you are not human right now. Even if they tell you to use acronyms, which they probably won't, considering you will be writing full sentences, so they will acknowledge you as more intelligent. Write full sentences in that group. And practical tip number 2, start using full sentences in your day-to-day lives. Now you don't have to do everything like a sloth, trying to say the full sentence in a place where it doesn't really fit in, or trying to emphasize on each and every word, but become a little bit slow in how you speak. Try to speak with more confidence than anxiety. Try to think before you speak. But you can still be fast and be competent at the same time. You don't have to speak like a sloth to raise your level of competence. Just use common sense, bro. You got this. If you want to know the first step I took towards my self-improvement journey, then go and click this video. Or if you want to minimize your life because you need to focus on some important thing, then go and click this one. I'll see you in the next one. Start if you haven't already.